To take on a full-time position arranging cat sitters for Maureen O'Brien, press enter now.
Now on BBC One, it's time for another adventure in space and time with Lee McMenemy, David Cummings and Cameron Phillips in The Police Box.
Quarantine session! What do you mean, oi? Mr. Quarantine session!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get your motors running and head out on the interstellar highway. We're born to be live. Welcome to our brand new series of The Police Box, live. Tonight we begin our best of free trial of Series 3 in New Money of Doctor Who with Gridlock going before the court. In Gridlock, the Doctor, along with new companion Martha Jones, returns to the city of New York to find a world in turmoil. Thanks to a runaway mutated virus, the vast majority of the residents of this once bustling metropolis find themselves trapped in the city's most away system, sealed in by the powers that be, resigned to spend their lifespans in a pitiful world, but ultimately resolving to make the best of things, despite living in borderline squalid little boxes, never seeing any other human beings, sustaining themselves on their own recycled waste, only shuffling around once every few weeks, and confined to a slow, choking procession that has become their everyday life. Talking of which, I'm joined as ever tonight by two men who can often be found in the darkest corners of Britain's road networks in a stationary vehicle, indicator lights flashing, with an expectant look on their cheeky wee faces, and a plentiful supply of lubricant that's most certainly not for the smooth running of their engines. It's a joke about dogging. It's Cameron Phillips and David Cummings.
Cats! It's got cats tonight! And you
Lots
chose
of
that.
cats! Yeah.
Cats! And you
I done a pushy joke last time. I'm not going to repeat myself this time. Okay? So, that was a one and done. We move on.
It's not been beyond you before.
Well, yeah, but, lots of things aren't beyond me, yeah. So, cheap as possible laugh.
Christ.
How are you, both?
The incident.
Doing well. Yourself.
Not bad.
I'm not bad. I'm glad to be back in the courtroom. It seems like absolutely ages since the last year, but
it does. It feels like it's about a good 6 weeks at least.
It's like, yeah, if not longer.
Yeah, if not longer. Yeah, but you know what they say about absence.
Yep, makes them forget about it. People forget about it, so we have to keep coming back.
People forget about it. Yeah.
Welcome along, everybody. It's a brand new series of the Police Box Live. It is the introduction of our new system on the Police Box Live. It is the first of our best of free trials. So Gridlock is going to be first before the court tonight. That is Dave's choice to prosecute the entire series of Doctor Who. So that's going to be the format going forward. Big task, isn't it? I mean, taking on that responsibility. So obviously we can't do this ourselves. So once again, this series, we've thrown open the courtroom doors and ushered in another batch of expectant justice dispensers, eager to ensure that the course of law is followed. So who's joining us for the opening trial of the series tonight? Well, pulling up into the parking bay at the courtroom tonight are two men who always have adequate boot space and a suspiciously regular supply of spades and tarpaulin. Baseballs, bats and bomber jackets at the ready. It's the Police Box's answer to Ross Kemp and Steve McFadden. It's tonight's guests, Mark Harrison and Bob Lowe's.
Thanks for having that. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm just allergic to cats. No, hay fever's hitting me bad, and I've been full of cold all week. So if anyone can lose this trial for this generally well-regarded episode, it's me.
Can I just
Brilliant to hear.
make an
Fantastic.
observation?
You can,
Go
Bob,
on.
You
yes.
can't throw up the doors again this series in the first of the series.
That's a good point, which I'll ignore and
Fuck
move
you.
on.
That's the kind of pedantic nonsense we live for. I like
Yeah,
it.
we're Doctor Who fans after all.
Nice.
I was expecting Mark to be a little bit more pleased about being compared to Ross Kemp, but you know,
I'm just
the king might be
vibrating quietly. I'm vibrating quietly, much like Ross himself.
One more stone. Hey, one more stone.
One more stone, hey? No, that's the other one. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves. We're just chatting about EastEnders like we do on WhatsApp.
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck is this?
I'm just going to fanboy about EastEnders from now on. That's it.
EastEnders.
I haven't seen that in donkeys yet. I wouldn't even know who's in it or care.
All the people that were in it donkeys years ago are generally back in it now. So
Yeah.
now's the time to step back on board, Bob.
Yeah.
But that's
Now
enough
that
about the
Andy
den
Watts has
scenes.
got another job.
But that's enough about the den scenes of Albert Square. How about we get on with what we're supposed to be doing tonight and kick off the proceedings of this series of the Boss Box Live?
Probably for the best because that's the format.
That's
The new
the
format.
The new format.
Hey.
Hey, it's catching on.
It will eventually, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, it's time then, for the first time in this series, to go back to 2007, the rock and roll years. Will the defence convince you that a story is coming up clutch, or will the prosecution ensure that it chokes under pressure? Mirror, signal, manoeuvre. It's time to put Gridlock on trial.
Something's coming over me. I'm so dizzy I can't see. Can't make out the forest for the trees. My heart is beating faster now as the traffic's slowing down. Suddenly I'm all alone with you. It's so good. Baby, when you're at the wheel, I can't believe the way I feel. It's such a rush just being with you. Down in the rush hour, ooh, you send me. You take it to the rush hour, ooh, you send me. You got me in the rush hour.
Gridlock was written by Russell T Davis, directed by Richard Clarke, and produced by Phil Collinson, with music by Murray Gold. It starred David Tennant as the Doctor and Be Still My Beating Heart, Freema Agyeman as Martha Jones, with Ardal O'Hanlon as Brannigan, Anna Hope as Novice Haim, Travis Oliver as Milo, Lenora Critchlow as Jean, Jennifer Hennessy as Valerie, Bridget Turner as Alice, Georgine Anderson as May, Simon Pearsall as Whitey, Daisy Lewis as Javits, Nicholas Bolton as the businessman, Erica MacLeod as Sally Calypso, Judy Norman as Ma, Graham Padden as Pa, Lucy Davenport as the Pale Woman, Tom Eden, Natasha Williams and Gail Telfer Seasons as the pharmacists, and Struan Roger as the face of Bo. It was broadcast on Saturday the 14th of April 2007, and the viewing figures, after all the iPlayer stats and all the gubbins been thrown together, was 8.4 million viewers. That's your stats and your numbers for Gridlock. Let's get this show on the road. It is time to call this court to session.
This court is now in session.
The trial of Gridlock is now underway. Here's who's doing what tonight. Cam and Mark are going to be defending Gridlock, whereas Dave and Bob are going to be sticking the boots into it and prosecuting. Let's start as we always do. It's time for this.
This is the law, chapter 1.
Once again, we've thrown open the courtroom doors this series to usher in another batch of you desperate to get into the witness box and give your evidence on the stories we're discussing. Let's see what you're all thinking about Gridlock then. Let's start off with Andrew Blair tonight, who gets straight to the point with his defence of Gridlock by saying, "Big Irish cat."
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's
Objectively true.
He's not wrong.
Yes, yeah, you can't deny that. That's good. Yeah.
Yep.
Short to the point.
Cats are available in other nationalities, but you know
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
and sizes.
I can account for that. I have one that's
Yes,
very big
you
and
can.
very Greek downstairs, so you know
Yes, exactly.
other cats are available.
Yeah, exactly.
Andrew does go into sort of a qualified statement by saying complimentary. So he's pro Irish
Of
big
course.
cats.
Yes,
Okay?
yeah, you've got to be pro Irish big cats. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I feel it's important to get those details down, just in case
It's
you
like
know.
it's that band Kneecat, isn't it?
Let's move on from that terrible pun.
That
and go
deserved
to-
more. Surely that deserved more.
No, it really didn't.
Oh, never mind.
If there was anyone doing an Irish pro-Republican joke, I didn't think it would be you, Cam, I'll be
I
honest.
know. Jeez. Sorry, guys. You know.
Let's move on. Let's go to the next bit.
Yeah,
of
let's
your
move
evidence
on
tonight.
before we start
Yeah,
annoying the
let's
entire,
move on.
creating the troubles.
It's Dave Rennie who says Gridlock is marvellous and moving and all that, but how the heck have they all survived in that jam for 20 years with recycled food, nowhere to shit, and not had cramped legs? Now there is a man who speaks from the experience of spending 7 hours in the back of a car going to Derby. It's a lovely idea, but it makes no logical sense. I really like the episode though, so not guilty.
He saves it at the last minute there, doesn't he? Saves it at the last minute. But
I was so close to agreeing with a Hibby. Thank God he changed it at the end. Boy's an idiot.
I mean, we'll get
One of
into
these
the
people
recycling, I'm sure, in a little minute.
Yeah.
You know.
Very well.
There are
Okay.
logical inconsistencies. They might also come up in a while.
Exactly.
Next up with your evidence tonight, channeling our inner Ian Jury, is Hannah Cooper, who says, "Cats and drugs and crab and crawl." The Mood Patches scene has a very low level anti-drugs message, maybe mild disapproval from the doctor at most. Teenage me was looking forward to the day I could just pop out and buy some happy from a hot dog van. Still sounds ideal. Not guilty.
I think I wouldn't suggest that Hannah knows this in any way, but I'm sure you could probably buy some happy from a hot dog van somewhere.
Yeah.
If you know
Quite a
which
lot
hot
of
dog
them
van
have.
to go to.
Any number of ice cream vans up Dave's way.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
How dare you? Probably true though. I don't know why
There's an ice
other
cream-
reasons why else would they be out in November? Come on now, guys.
Exactly.
You know.
There's an ice cream van like round near ours that is clearly this, but the little tinkly ice cream tune it plays in the top is just the love theme from The Godfather. It's like, oh yeah, you're just saying the quiet part like now. It's going do. All of their businesses are legitimate. Do you want a flake in that?
Mine just plays the theme from The Third Man that comes around here.
Ooh, get a classic ice cream van.
And I'm like, I've no
Spoiler
idea
alert,
what-
Cam, but your ice cream man might still be alive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We don't have
There was
ice cream.
another-
Cool.
There was a third man at this ice cream queue.
And all your 99 codes served at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Little cinema joke for all you out there.
Hey, there you go.
It's niche, but it's there.
Wasn't as good as
All right.
Kneecap.
All right, let it go. Next up in viewer evidence tonight, it's the voice of our balls himself. It's Daniel Ronsley, who says, after taking his friend to see the death of our own planet as a way of trauma bonding and breaking apart the entire healthcare research of its spiffy new replacement, Doctor Who at last faces his punishment, stuck in an endless traffic jam where the only available radio station is Songs of Praise. In all seriousness, I think it's great. I love the eccentricity, the pace, the forward momentum, the wealth of source material it draws from, how it creates an entire world out of one redressed set and a couple of locations. I love the layers upon layers of blind and true proof, the difference between beliefs and lies, how it interrogates sacrifice and redemption, the optimism versus bleakness, the fanboy deep cut of the Macra, and how the Doctor is wrong about almost everything in the story. The frightened and forgotten being inspired to rise up is profoundly moving, easily Russell T Davies' best script of that year.
Okay.
Shall we go, Cam? I don't think
I've
there's
gone a
anything
little
left to
far.
say.
I think that's it. I think Daniel's done the job. I think we can take the night off.
Thanks, Daniel, just give me the
Yes.
night off,
We'll
basically.
back
isn't
to
it?
Often.
He's what a handsome, good-looking fella he is. That Daniel. What a man. What a genius. Yeah.
Well, from one handsome, good-looking fella to another, it's the man with the velvet voice. It's Gareth Bowley, who says, a true metaphor for the grind of life, inching forward one bit at a time, and then crabs. Sorry, and then crabs with gas. Typical. Oh, and kitties! Best episode of the series. Not guilty.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. Gareth's done a good job for us as well. So yeah, I think that'll be us tonight. Me and Mark can just clock off now. We'll just be sat here drinking cups of tea. It'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everyone used to tune into the BBC on a Saturday night, just for true representations of the grind of life. It's what we're all looking for at the weekend, isn't it?
That's
Yeah,
Saturday
exactly.
nights.
Exactly.
Take that, Michael McIntyre. Don't get that in the world, do you?
Who wants escapism?
Michael McIntyre hosts a game show where the prize is just to toil the fields. Yay! Here's your scythe.
You won the
It's an adventure.
golden throw. Here you are. Get
You
chilling.
want tonight's star prize, you get to be Amish.
Let's raise the bar.
Oh,
That's what
Give it
it's
a few-
called. Raise the bar.
Give it a few more years.
To the Black Death.
Give it a few more years. The wheel will definitely be mounted on top of the machine that turns poor people into goo for our entertainment.
Yeah.
The new controller of BBC One gets his way.
he will. Yep.
Let's move on from that nightmarish vision of the future. Let's hop across the pond and go and see Buffy the Rattlesnake Slayer himself. It's Joel Llewellyn, who says, Hey, I've only watched it once or twice, and Amakra didn't mean anything to me because my trek through Classic Who was in the future. But it was a good episode. I love Martha. She's my favourite 10th Doctor companion. Good man, Joe. I like the funky 2000 AD style future story. The atheist Russell T Davies makes good use of the old rugged cross, once again adding religion into the story without tired cliches or cheap shots. He did this in the Impossible Planet Satan Pit as well. Good job, RTD1. This needs a rewatch. Not guilty.
Thank you again, Joe. Thank you again. See, he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. It's all good.
And if you don't agree with him, you hit with your breeze block.
Yep.
Just like it does with the snakes.
Yes.
Okay, from the west coast to the east coast, it's time to go to New York. It's the future is for everyone. Bonkers. Somehow simultaneously beautiful and disturbing as fuck. Humans can adapt to almost anything, and that's not always a good thing. I can watch Freema Agum's reactions all day. You and me both, mate. You and me both. Our agency in fight, she gets a responsibility to the viewers. I shouted when 10 said Macra. Oh, fun, not guilty.
There you go.
There he goes. And he also says, for FYI, I wanted to peek at a few scenes to refresh my memory and wound up watching the whole episode.
Of course you did. Of course you did, man.
Yeah, it's very Moorish, Gridlock, very Moorish.
I also love the fact that the future is for everyone decided to try and censor his swearing and then obviously forgot he was on a podcast that was mostly Scottish.
Yes.
It's all right, mate. It's fine. You just carry on. Let's let it loose. It's fine. We don't mind.
Oh, also, Lee, if you're watching, I do apologise for the really bad attempt at a New York accent, but strap yourself in, pal. There's going to be plenty more of that in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you'll see. Oh, the things you'll hear. Yeah, that's a coming over the horizon. Okay, finally tonight, asking all the big questions, it's Beeble Pete who says, if you want to pop Gridlock in the Doctor Who doc, its fate will hinge on the cats. The one with the kittens is fine testimony for exoneration and for conviction. You'll find the one with the two virgins is woefully under-discussed. Or is it dog form or bat form? So many questions, and none of them good. But it does answer the question because it's cats, because the script says so. There you go. Javit is a scrawny black female cat.
Oh, nice. Okay. Wow.
There you have it. It's been straight into the BBC archives and dug that out for us. For a bit of fact in the Postbox Live.
Marvellous. Fantastic. It'll be even recreated by AI by Ian Levine in a matter of weeks.
My version is so much better.
It's like he's here.
Ian Levine or Alan Bennett, you decide. Man's made with big creams. Muller advised doubling with technology.
Get up, Dora.
So I'll get back to work on Monday. People asking me how my weekend was. I'm like, it was fine. No, Friday night, just spent some time with some guys doing some Alan Bennett impressions. What we do.
As you do, you know. It's what we do for entertainment, you know. When we're not toiling the fields for Michael McIntyre. You know.
Right.
Before
Michael McIntyre.
Michael McIntyre's in charge of anything.
Yeah, imagine that. Be great.
Well, before McIntyre sends us to work on his labour farm, it's two things we can bring you tonight. Before that happens, you can get in touch and give us your thoughts on Gridlock. All you have to do is send us a message using the live chat box on YouTube. We'll put them up on screen as they come in. We've had a couple already. I'll have a look at those in a moment. But the most important thing for the trial tonight is voting is now open. So based on the arguments put forward by Dave, not yet, Cam, not yet. Forward by Dave, Cameron, Mark and Bob tonight, you get to decide whether Gridlock is guilty or not guilty of crimes against Doctor Who. All you have to do is go to tinyurl.com/pblive50 and this is where nobody points in the right direction every single time, without fail, you can scan the on-screen QR codes, which nobody is pointing in the right direction towards. Reverse, guys, reverse. Bob's got it.
That way?
And everybody slowly. Yep, there we go. Click.
Monkey tried it that way.
So that's as it shows on my screen then.
On my screen,
yes. There we go. We've been
What I'm told you, Dave, is that is actually just hovering outside your window.
Yep.
Like the black triangle from the Five Doctors.
It was
time scooped in a minute.
It was swallowed by a QR code that was floating in the sky. Mother always said to avoid them.
Shall we get on with the trial? Let's get the trial underway. Guest goes first in the Postbox 5. So Alan Bennett, sorry, Bob, would you want to give us your first point for the prosecution of Gridlock, please?
Okay. I mean, there is a lot of good stuff in Gridlock. It's got some really nice character design and things like that, and some of the things that some of the guys there, whose names I forget, gave us viewer evidence about the faith and rumor and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that is all there. But the best you can say about Gridlock is it all adds up to be sort of, it's okay. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's just kind of a big nothing burger, you know. It's like all these good ideas put in, and it just sort of meanders along because there's under the surface there's quite a lot of problems I found watching it. They try CG with the car, God bless them, with a budget of 550 and a ZX Spectrum, and it looks shit. And they were really overstretching themselves. I mean, this is a budget-saving episode, so you've got to give a bit of slack. But they could have just got a prop thing that they knocked up in a shed and then CSO that lifting off or whatever. But the CG car looks terrible. For some reason, it's massive inside, tiny outside. You know, there's people like a whole family going on inside and all this, but they've just redressed the same set every time. Not always particularly well, and all these people are supposed to be living in their cars for years and years, and logistically it just makes no sense in there because they've got no shower, they've got no other shit, they're eating their own, they're eating their own shit. Where that is coming from, going to. God knows, there must be some contraption. There's only one bed, and there has to be a maximum of 3 people in the car before they can go anywhere, but there's only one bed. That makes no sense. What are they doing? Taking shifts? Okay.
Yeah.
And Martha, as a character, she's only just been introduced. She actually has agency as a character. She gets to do things, and she has a positive through role in the story. But the story, the series is called Doctor Who, and it's about the Doctor. And in this, the Doctor does nothing. Martha gets kidnapped. He follows her out, doesn't catch up to her. Then he drops from one car to the next car, trying to catch up to her. Gets kidnapped. Ends up with a face of Bo. And says, "All right, I'm going to save everybody." Here's a switch off, flick that. Oh, it's not worked. And the face of Bo actually saves the day by, "I shall give you my energy," and which she was already doing.
Yep.
Because when they're going, how's this whole thing staying alive? I'm using my energy. Oh, that's good. I'll save everybody. I'm using my energy, and that's all that happens. And then it ends, and the face of Bo dies for some reason because he's used all his energy. He lived 5 billion years, but.
Yeah.
This has done him in, and yeah, it's just a bit sort of all right. You know, there was a lot of better episodes than that story, but it's just not great. It's only okay.
Yeah, watching it back, it does feel a bit like a 40-minute setup for that one punchline at the finish, and that's the only reason they did the entire story is to save budget. And so they go, "Oh, look, the face of Bo, it's John Barrowman, isn't it?"
That didn't even come that one though, did it? That was much later on.
That's why the face of Bo is always filmed from the chin up because you just know his cock's out, don't you? Because Barrowman.
One of them tentacle things. One of them tentacle things must be
draping over people's shoulders.
Yes.
The face of Bo is just Barrowman's stretched out scrotum, isn't it?
That's what it is. Oh my god!
Yeah, it's in a big tank full of mysterious liquid.
Moisturize me.
Which is how John Barrowman would probably love to be, you know, if it was given the opportunity.
Well, if you gotta go,
yeah, somehow, yeah.
It's just kind of. Sorry, go on.
I mean. It's been picked by Dave as the worst example of this series, and this should condemn the entire series as this is the nadir of the entire thing. So, by that stretch, it should be a horribly offensive episode that everyone thinks is rotten, and you know it should be consigned to a bin somewhere, never to return. But upon, I don't know, but personally, upon rewatching this for this show, I was quite pleasantly surprised at how well it kind of belts along in that 45-minute period. I mean, I know you're saying one of your points there was saying that the Doctor doesn't do anything, but he gets a lot of action in this. He is the guy.
He gets action, but none of it amounts to anything. He tries following Martha. He doesn't catch up to her. He gets kidnapped because he's apparently hopeless. He ends up with a face of bone, tries to rewire everything, and that doesn't work.
And
all the Doctor does is lands the TARDIS, and then there's 45 minutes of episode, and then he takes off in the TARDIS with Martha again, and that's essentially all that happens to him.
And if Raiders of the Lost Ark had Indiana Jones Just Go Home, we'd be watching a very boring movie about Nazis eating shit in the desert. So, it's maybe not necessarily about plot and its weight, character action is weight, but it's about what it says about character, which I think is a big thing for this. Sorry, am I treading on the opening statement? Can I jump into mine, or
if you want to?
Sorry,
yeah,
we're firing my belly. Let's do this. Let's talk about how Dave is a coward for picking this, and there are more popular episodes that are worse.
For picking this, can I point out that I chose this because it's symptomatic of everything that's wrong in this series? It's not necessarily the worst. It's symptomatic of what's wrong with the series.
Withdrawn. Let me rephrase. Dave is a coward for picking this one because there are other more popular episodes I think you could have picked out there. Like one you get into in a couple of weeks with the new accents. What we're getting here is, and my opening statement, I'd like to remind the courts that RTD2 is not on trial as we get into this story that blows up a social issue to ridiculous world-sized proportions, brings back an old villain to turn them into a monster, and ends with the main character expending all their life force and killing themselves to fix things. RTD2 is not on trial. And wherever you think this is symptomatic, we don't try symptoms, we try criminals. We try actual crimes against Doctor Who. I'm very full of cold and hay fever, so whether this is incoherent or not, I don't give a fuck. We're jumping into this gridlock. To me, what I like about it is talking about social issues born to ridiculous size. You've got the jumping up and down between cars. Just the fact that it is an up and down between cars. It's high rise again, isn't it? It's sort of like it's taking high rise as an influence and turning that into an action movie. It's 2000 AD presents High Rise meets Frogger. It's a great way. It's what lifts it into a pitch for a Doctor Who episode. It understands the demands of modern television, which I know that some Doctor Who fans like bristle against. But for me, Gridlock is the 30th episode of the revival, and it's where it settles into. It's where things start paying off. It's where you don't have 90 minutes to build a world over a serial as you did in the old ones. So this is the investment that to me pays off, that you've had 2 episodes in this locale already. But it's not like, right, this place is familiar, you're going to meet all of the same characters. It's like, right, remember that episode, this is what's going on now. End of the World is, as was mentioned in the viewer evidence there, about trauma bonding in a way. It's someone who's watched his world die, taking his mate to watch her world die. And New Earth follows that and is the weakest of the 3 because it's more space hospital than Brave New World. But Gridlock refines the best bits of both. It's still got that thing about the brand new companion. And it's still got that thing of it's going to be microcosm of the world, but the allegory and the satire is that much more effective because it's bedded in this mad sci-fi action movie where everyone's in cars. It takes things that is big strengths of Doctor Who. It's like that set that it redresses over and over again, whether you think they were dressed well or not. They're all distinctly dressed, and that again speaks to what I think this is about, which is character. That it's about the individuals within the machines, not about the world that's been built. You've built the world. The sci-fi rules are not that interesting. The bits that are complained about, like where are they showering, where are they shitting, where are they getting their food from, is waved away in a hand-wavy line and might not be satisfying sci-fi. For me, it's satisfying drama. And on top of all of that, it's the rare thing that Doctor Who fans claim to actually want. It's an unfolding text. There's ways that you can look at it. There's different interpretations of this, whether you look at it as class satire or religious satire. To me, it's an atheist version of heaven and hell, where above the politicians and philanthropists and billionaires have died. They've gone where this can't hurt them anymore, but they've locked everyone else in with them, and going below ravenous monsters who are just gorging themselves. And it's like fine wine, because that's really where we are as a society, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Well, that's that, isn't it? Apparently, I'm on my own now.
You've just had to go into landed gentry, and that's enough for Bobby's off. How dare you talk about his friends meeting like that?
Has he gone? Oh, he just dropped off.
I think he has been having I should probably. It has been having
connection
internet
issues,
trouble
right,
most
yeah.
of the day, so yeah, it'll be back.
Yeah,
I'll
fair
keep an eye
enough.
out for him popping in.
You'll be back and do that. Yeah, it'd be good. Yeah,
One
I
down,
agree
sorry.
with everything that's been said. And I think that was a point made for the defence via Night Nurse, but it's fine by me. Fine by me. I'll keep some of my powder keg dry for later on. But
Yeah, I think the fact that they've gone back to the same locale again, it doesn't show anything interesting. It doesn't show any thought. It's not original. I mean, that was The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. He travels in time to the same place and sees that changes have been wrought on the society there. It's exactly the same thing here. The Doctor goes back to the same place he's been before. Society's changed. Oh, isn't this shocking and different? No, it's what happens. Things grow and change. So, yeah, fine. It's the same locale as before, but the only way we know that is because we're told that. It's not the same sets. It's very few of the same characters. So it's not the same locale as before because it's changed. It's moved on.
Yeah, but so to use an example like the Ark, which is a story where they go back to the same, they go forward 100 years in time, and they've had someone's turned up with a cold selfishly. Imagine that, and so fly forward in time, and they find that the cold has destroyed everybody. Just saying, it's like that can happen in the space of 4 25-minute episodes over 4 weeks. It's like you can have that growth and change of this. It comes over a longer period because one of the bigger complaints about the new series is the 45-minute format doesn't give you, what fans call the depth of world building in the old series, which is there's a desert planet and it's called Iridius and it's a bit arid. But, it's like you have this thing of, they're making a big deal of, we're doing our first alien planets. They did that for New Earth and it was New Earth. It's kind of, it's a different locale from End of the World to start with, but it's that thing of building a history that you can, just to do stories set in the future. That's not you coming up with a brand new future every time. You understand, faithful viewers understand that, Cassandra was around and then this is years later and this is where she lives. And having seen where she lives, we can expand that world out into what we get here.
I also think it's sorry, Dave.
No, go for it.
Right, just a quick. But I also think it's the start of modern Doctor Who starting to build its own lore. So it's like it's kind of that thing of we don't have to go back into the classic series for everything, and now it's just we have this thing where we can start to call back to stories that were maybe a year or two ago, but it makes the series stronger for that because it's building on a classic foundation. So it sure as hell beats occasional moments where modern Doctor Who's just kind of gone, do you remember the thing from 1972? Yeah, here it is again as a skeleton.
Or the macro as they were known, which is what they did in this one.
Yeah, but it's not. We'll get to the macro in a wee minute. Actually,
we'll get to the macro.
We'll get to crabs, Dave. We'll get to crabs. Don't you worry.
I thought I got rid of
I
them.
apologise now because my internet dropped out earlier and it's been up and down like a hose drawers all night.
Okay, well.
Did you catch the bit where I called David coward?
But I think the final straw
like
was
10
Mark's like have to go to Welsh people. So it's
Yeah. Mark could have got the landed gentry and then your internet caked out. So it was just like...
Yeah, aye. Stormed off to the Building Club. I've had enough of this.
But there you go. Yeah, sorry, Dave, carry on.
No, I have no idea where I was going to go with that one. It's it's hard to build a new universe if you keep referencing everything that's gone previously. And I think that's part of the problem with this series. They don't know whether they want to just build a new universe, new going forward. And that's why they are scared to do that. So they bring in the macro. They keep bringing in these touchstones from previous stories so that it feels safe.
I mean, nobody remembers the macro really anyway. They were a one and done monster.
Exactly. So it's for the 1% of people who,
Yeah. When they brought back the Daleks and they brought back the Cybermen and they brought back the Sontar, the Autons, all that was really good. And there was a good logical reason for having those monsters. And then the macro's just like just because you can.
Yep.
We need an old
monster.
Well, that's a case of giant crabs.
Yeah. Well, if you've got giant monsters that eat gas, you know, as far as I understand it, it came to like they basically went, "Oh, we've already got one of those, so let's make it the Macra," and it doesn't affect you. You definitely don't need to have seen or at that point listen to the Macra Terror to understand the story. I think that's always been the push and pull of it. Like Cam said, this is sort of building forward in the new Who lore. It's got that little throwback to the Old Testament stuff. That's not. It's always been the push and pull. They're not closing that off. Like they're not sticking a wall up and just doing that. Like this is certainly the series where they start bringing that stuff in, whether it's the Master at the end of the series or the picture of Paul McGann in the Journal of Impossible Things. That's like the first acknowledgement that the TV movie counted in the new series. It's in there, and we all got. If we're asking who's this for, it's like it's for us, you dials. It's as far as that goes, the Macra. It's just a thing of like you don't really need to invent another big monster that eats gas in a story that's got that going on. It's in the side box already.
It's not as if the Macra are like massively the big bad in this. It's not as if the idea is to sort of defeat the Macra directly. They are essentially a byproduct of what's happened. The main sort of bad in this is the fact that whole societies can basically be just chucked away on a whim because someone upstairs in an ivory tower reckons that they're more important.
Yeah,
that's the main evil in this story.
The problem I have
the
with
Macra
the
is a nice
in it is that again the Macra are there but don't actually serve a function, because that episode would function perfectly well if they were just all perpetually trapped in the motorway system, unable to get out, traveling really slowly. The Macra don't actually add anything. All right, they make the cars disappear, but that could have been anything that they chose to write in there. Could have been a big cleaning robot like he had in Paradise Towers or something like that. But they were just, let's do a bit of fun. Man can have the Macra in there.
Yeah, but it's not the tail wagging the dog there. It's like you've already got the monster, and you go, all right, why not make it the Macra? It's a cute little Easter egg that I don't think derails it. If it lends anything to the story, it's the thing of the Doctor is always wrong throughout this, and that's, as I say, that's a thing of character that's intentional in the story. What I think it lends to it is that he sees Macra and he goes, he literally says, like, you've got Macra, like you'd say you've got rats. Like, I know how to deal with this. It's like from up right up to the point that Novice Hame come to abduct him. It's a thing of like, right, I know what I'm doing. This is a world to be taken down, and it turns out, no, it's not.
Also, it would give reason for people who the whole thing is, if you go down to the fast lane, then you don't come back, and that's it. So there has to be probably something there for the reason for them not to come back. It would have been fine, I suppose, had they just gone, you just get lost in the fog and just disappear and then die slowly, because you just
don't they just think the people have got where they're in if they're in the fast lane? That's why you don't hear them again on the motorway anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they've got to where they're going.
Yeah, well, that's it. But in reality, it's like you're chopped by a Macra. That's like the couple at the start, for the pre-credit sequence, where it's just that's what attacks them. It would be less impactful if their whole thing was like, Doris, we're completely lost in this fog. We don't know where we're going. Just carries on in odd silence as she starts saying about how they should have consulted with the guy who's 5 years behind them. And then it makes it more of an impact if like something's attacking their car. And that's, quite cool in that sense. So the Macra are there for a reason, to be a threat. But they are not the main threat in this story. And I think if they were, it would become a Macra story. In which case, maybe not. But as it works as it is, it's a hell of a lot better for it.
Okay. Anything more to add on that one?
I have nothing more to add to my crabs.
They weren't very well realized. I mean, I get that they were having to do it as CG because it was the most convenient way, but they looked terrible. They were just very low res. Okay, it's shot in standard def, so that's to be expected. But for some reason, they were absolutely gigantic in an almost comical way. It looks silly to me.
I mean,
Which,
well,
but given that when they previously appeared, they were just like massive crap props on the back of a Bedford truck. Everything would be better than that.
I mean, I think we're maybe in saying that forgetting how sort of different Doctor Who looked in the first sort of 3 seasons when it came back, 3 or 4 seasons. I mean, if you look back at some of the special effects stuff now, and like season 1 and 2, it looks particularly bad, especially like Mickey when he gets swallowed by the wheelie bin. I remember that looking particularly shite when you look back at it again. But it's probably one of those, I mean, I think it kind of ramps up a gear sort of during the Matt Smith era, I think.
Yes,
definitely during,
That's in season 3 and 4, though. I mean, they've kind of found a groove there with the CGI. It's not.
Well, they found the groove, but even so, we are talking nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah, but it is also doing it's doing what CGI is there to do in Doctor Who. It's there for the story. It's not as much as it is they're attempting, our biggest CG spectacle yet. And I was going to ask you, because I would sort of push back a bit on is it meant to be the low budget one of the season? Just because it's got one set, it doesn't make it the low budget one. Like, just as a logistical thing, it looks, like there was more to it than there was anything else around it. I think we're maybe just hitting the ceiling of what 2007 BBC One drama budget sci-fi looks like. But to me, I would say hands up, anyone in here whose favourite Doctor Who story of all time is your favourite because of the special effects. Yeah, I thought that.
Certainly not mine.
Oh, Cam, just put that hand down, Cam.
I was agreeing with you. I said, yeah.
But I'd like to point out for later reference that Cameron just said that all of the CGI and graphics in this entire series look shit. That's what I heard him say.
I'm not saying we are looking back on this with modern eyes, all used to HD TV by now, and God knows how many, how high up the resolution is on your telly, whatever, refresh rate. We're looking back on this that's nearly 20 years. I mean, if you were like in 2007 and you were like then looking at like a Doctor Who, from like 1987 and going, that looks shit, doesn't it? We'd be, what I mean? It'd be the same time scale.
I see what you mean. I mean, if you compare the cat people in this with the cat people in Survival, they're night and day difference.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm.
And on the cat people thing, on the makeup, which I think is particularly good in this, if you compare the cat makeup in this, the cat makeup in the movie Cats, like the 2019 giant Hollywood blockbuster Cats, beats the shit out of it. Like other than the fact every single time he talks, that's Father Dougal, you wouldn't be able to tell that was Athol Hanlon as a big cat.
Yeah, but you compare the film Cats with the cat from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and it loses out. Come on, it's.
The cat from Sabrina
was Survival.
Teenage Witch.
Salem was in that one.
Salem was a real cat. We all know that.
Don't scare me like that.
I'm just going to deviate for a moment. The problem with Cats is it has no plot. That's what everybody seems to forget. It's actually just cats that sing for some reason. Nothing. There's no story. It's shite. And I've had to sit through a stage version of it. It was boring as fuck.
Bob Lowe's, ladies and gentlemen, prosecuting Gridlock and all musical theatre tonight on the Bolus Box Live.
Yeah, I tell you what, sack the rest of this off. We're all prosecuting Andrew Lloyd Webber. My favourite fact about that film, though, is that he was so depressed by how badly it turned out and how badly it was received, he bought a dog. That's an actual fact. Go look it up. Wow. He bought a dog.
Wow. Do you think it's just James Corden? I think it's just James Corden. I think it would have been fine if it just didn't have James Corden.
I don't need that image of James Corden on a lead. I just really don't.
There are embarrassments of riches and there are wealths of embarrassments. I don't know if any of you have watched the whole film, but I have, and no, just no.
Your free word review. Yep.
Was there not like a version of that movie somewhere where all the cats had arseholes, like CGI?
There was release the butthole cut. Yeah,
yes.
And we're for the second time on with me being on the Paulus box. We're in a cat's arsehole. It's lovely. Yes, it's just what we want. There really is a butthole cut apparently, but even when they release it in cinemas, there's stuff like Judi Dench has upsettingly human hands in like one bit. She's like still got a wedding ring on. They haven't CGI'd it out. They were like still releasing patches of the special effects while it was in the cinema. So compared to Gridlock, Cats is a pile of shit.
They were having to use AI to fix some of the effects because they had so little time, and AI is crap for fixing stuff like that. So that's why Judi Dench has got human hands in a lot of it. Anyway, there you go.
Anyway, yeah, that was a tangent.
Well, while we're on the subject of CGI, Gareth Ball has been in touch to say, good CGI this series. Dobby Doctor.
Oh, that was terrible. Yeah, Jesus.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet, Gareth.
We're not going to be there. Gareth sent something else in, but I'll come back to that in just a second. Daniel Rollins has been in touch to say, replace the Sally Calypso hologram with Michael McIntyre, and Gridlock becomes 100 times more of a dystopia.
Absolutely.
You're trapped in the fast lane. You're not going to die.
Imagine that and we get Joe Pasquale singing Old Rugged Cross.
We've cast him in Genesis of the Daleks, so why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Man's available for this sort of work.
That'd be brilliant.
So Gareth's second comment, and I'm glad that Bob managed to make it back for many reasons, because Bob. But this calls back to earlier on. Now, Bob, can I just get you to do your Face of Bo impression again for me?
I've used all my power. Can't remember what I did now. Here's my power.
Now, when I heard that, I thought Rolly Birkin. I'm just hearing, use all my power. It's very, very drunk indeed.
That one, just add it again.
But Gareth Foley has stepped in, and he's just stoking the fire. He's watched enough of these to know this is just going to derail the whole show tonight. Because he says, Aaron Manning was the face of Bo. He's just wanting to do the Northern Club comedians again. That's what it is.
That's what he wants. That's what he's trying to just, he's poking the bear here.
John Barrowman and his tentacles walk into a bar.
Oh, wait, John Barrowman and his tentacles.
John Barrowman holding me Tesco bags. Never ask him to pack your shopping. Yeah, so. Oh,
right then.
The grapefruits were swinging. Anyway, let's just move on.
God. Let's move on. Next point is going to be Dave. Dave, do you want to get your first point to the prosecution of Gridlock, please?
So one of the subplots of Gridlock is that drugs are bad. That's the subplot. Drugs, patches, they're just bad for you. So there's a couple of things here. If I want kids to watch this and think drugs are bad, I am not going to have the only people in this who are happy and clean as the drug dealers. Because that's not what you want from drug dealers. And in my experience, drug dealers go where the customers are. So I'd expect far more people to be hanging around the streets of the pharmacy district, just, where the drug dealers are.
It's true.
It's a really badly done leveraged bit of story because, you don't want to take this. It'll make you happy.
Yes.
Now, I'll be honest. I take antidepressants every day because they make me happy. They stop me being really fucking sad. So the whole thing of, oh no, you don't want to take that. It'll make you happy. The memory thing, completely fine. That's alcohol. You take that, you forget. That's fine. But you don't want to take this because it might make you happy. Oh, that's bad and evil. How dare you take those things? That just struck a really wrong note for me. Putting all drugs together as just bad. And I think it's
a dystopia.
It's strange for Doctor Who.
If it's a dystopia where their family is disappearing and they've got nothing to look forward to, you want to have something to take your mind off it. So yeah, you're going to go buy some happy from the hot dog stand guy.
Yeah.
And then the doctor goes, no, that's wrong. I'm going to take that off you.
But it's the fact that even Martha, who is a medical doctor, will look at these people and go, "Oh, you're taking something I don't know what it is, but I've decided it's bad." Like,
because she gets it from a hot dog stand. Like, I think it's.
Yeah.
I think it's. If we were talking about New Earth, then maybe you could have an anti-medication kick. But we've sort of seen what that is, and it's not. It's not everybody's leaving these slums that drug dealers operate out of hot dog stands. It's not an anti-medication kick; it's an anti-drug kick. And
Look,
I
we
definitely
might
don't think
have
it goes this
we're all
person
gonna be getting hot
forgetting
dogs from hot dog stands,
this
so
is supposed to be
deal with
okay. I don't think the person who puts the forget patch on, I don't think that moment is like, this is fine. I don't think that's how it's played or written.
but that's why they could have gone into what some of these patches. These patches started out as good things. They helped people who needed them, and then it was taken too far by the society. That would be one part of the story instead of just all drugs are bad. If you take any
Well,
drugs, eventually everyone dies.
Well, that's kind of what happened upstairs. Like, you know, they were all on bliss, which isn't the same as happy, which is not. It's not the same as an antidepressant. Crucially, it's they all went off their tits on drugs.
But I know
and it's drugs,
people
not medication.
I know people who microdose on like hallucinogens because it helps with
Yeah.
their mental health issues, and they're buying them from drug dealers, and it is bliss because it makes them feel better and it's illegal, but it's good for them. And it's a very nuanced thing, drugs, and even Doctor Who historically has not been completely against countercultures, where it's like hippies, people on the outside, people who do different things because that's what they need to do. Whereas this story is very much just, if these drug shops are still open when I come back, I'm going to burn you all to the fucking ground. I'm going to staple you to a lamppost. And it's very decisive and extreme in its reaction to what they've done.
Yeah, as you said. But as we said, the Doctor is wrong about absolutely everything in this story. That is him doing, I am the oncoming storm, you will shut this hot dog stand, as he would do increasingly from here on out, really, throughout the rest of the David Tennant era. I don't think that's... I mean, it's maybe a shorthand. It's maybe a thing of... It's like that this is the state of the... This is the state of the towns on the ground, and these people on the motorway are leaving because they've heard there's jobs elsewhere, because there's desperation to get out of their situation. Maybe it's a bit broad strokes, but I'm not sure that within the, with the story that's trying to do all this is trying to do. Wait, is that my dog or somebody else's?
That's mine.
I don't have one, so not mine.
Who's which is all patting our laps in our pockets. This dog. What was I saying? Thanks, dog. You bailed me out with that. No, yeah, I think it's a broad strokes thing. I'll grant you that, but I don't think it's an anti-medication kick.
I think it would make a big difference, as I say, if the fact that they were buying it in some dark street corner somewhere. I think the Doctor's reaction.
Right. Dave is right in that Martha should have realised that some drugs are good.
Yep.
Yeah.
She gives out drugs all the time, every day. That's a job.
Yeah, but again, I don't think anyone's coming to this pharmacy town, ironically enough, with a prescription.
But we don't know that's where the hijackers get their drugs from.
Yeah.
Well, we know they abduct someone.
Everything has gone wrong.
We know they abduct someone and take them into the car in order to
Yeah.
get onto the fast lane. So it's a case of being driven to... I think it's sympathetic with that couple as well. Is it Milo and Cheem? I think it's sympathetic with them as well, that you're driven to this in your desperation. I think that it's borne out through the story that the fast lane is described as, as the upper... It's described as a different class by Brannigan at some point. You can't phone people who are in the fast lane because they're a different class than we are. But, in the, High Rise meets Frogger allegory, it's a literal descent. It's the things you're doing to try and get a better life. And I think that is well worked through, even in the Saturday Night Broad Strokes version of it.
Yeah, I think
a couple are like the BBC Saturday Night version of the tart with the heart, the junkie scum who are trying to make their lives better. Which is like the BBC Saturday Night version of that, so they actually love each other. And yeah, she's pregnant, and yeah, they violently take somebody hostage, but they don't do it with a real gun, so it's fine. And it's the gentle way of portraying them as the common folk.
Yeah.
I don't think it's portrayed I don't think that's the generalization that makes them common folk. It's the context of the story that they're in, that they're driven to this.
Yeah.
I think also we'll have to warrant the fact that the Doctor's reaction to, the whole thing, I'm going to shut you down, kind of, his Judge Dredd style, I am the law, is very much in the aftermath of Martha getting kidnapped by some drug users. So that's probably his snap reaction. Because effectively,
memory loss.
Yeah, this whole story is essentially he's been a bit blasé about taking his companion to some far-flung planet, thought it was going to be brilliant, kind of casually just went, yeah, this will be a great laugh, and then within about a few minutes, it's all gone horribly wrong, and he's the idiot for bringing her here. And that's he does basically have this whole example of his regret that I've completely fucked this up and not been on my guard about these things, and shit, and there's a mess here and I have to go and fix it. Get me Michael McIntyre on the phone, that kind of thing.
On that, actually, Daniel Owens has been in touch to say, isn't there a suggestion that part of this is the Doctor's fault? He shut down the hospital in New Earth, now healthcare is replaced by pharmacy towns where drugs are sold on the streets.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly that point. Daniel Ramsey is again killing this, Cam. What are we doing?
What a man! He's just a Daniel on here.
Get yourself on, Daniel. I'll send you the link. Come and enjoy.
I could have just sat and played Mario Kart.
Just don't go down to the fast lane. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, don't go down the fast
There's
lane.
blue shells
Just
down there.
Crabs.
Wall ride. Over, yeah.
It's the two things that's missing. The two things this episode is missing: a Mario Kart. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, carry on.
I'm saying the two things this episode was missing was a Mario Kart bit and a bit off what Cam just said, where David Tennant in that overacting 2007 where he went, "I am the law."
Also, side note, there is a regular kind of Police box related Mario Kart nights for anyone with a Switch 2. If you just drop us a line.
Right. We'll send out a link. I'll tweet out a link later.
Yeah, tweet out the room code. It's going to be good.
On the flip side of Daniel's point, Gareth Bowley's been in touch to say about the Doctor. He loses Rose, they lose hot dogs. Justice.
That's harsh.
Fair.
It's harsh, it's harsh but fair. Harsh but fair. Oh boy.
I would say we just swap Rose for some hot dogs, but again, depends on what toppings are on the hot dogs, doesn't it? Because a nice chili cheese dog versus Rose, no choice.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of sauce on a hot dog.
Just like it dry.
Yeah, I just like it dry.
Don't make the punchline.
Bread in the
I
dead.
can
Thank
see
you
where
very
you're
much.
going with this. I know you. Before Dave drags us further into the gutter, shall we go to Cam's next point?
We probably should, because I feel Dave's got a point. He's
I've not done anything.
There's something
I
brewing.
merely asked Cam
with
how he
Dave
likes
and
his hot dogs.
I
Which
was going to say he's teetering
somebody
on the edge,
else
but
brought
that's just going to encourage him.
Never mind.
Right, Cam, go for it. Let's have your point for the defensive please.
Okay. Bearing in mind that this is a period of Doctor Who which we've previously had Peter Kay on, essentially chewing the scenery. Regarding the casting of stand-up comedians as in Doctor Who, is Ardal O'Hanlon probably one of the better ones?
Well, he's not actually a stand-up comedian, is he?
Yeah, he's done stand-up. He was stand-up before he was in Ballad Ted.
Yeah, still is, as far as I know.
Yeah, he's still doing gigs. But he's I mean, in this, I think it's very beneficial that he is in, as we've already established, quite convincing cat get-up with the makeup and things and the prosthetics and things like that. Because it would have been very, very easy. I mean, Ardal O'Hanlon obviously is a big part of one of the best comedy shows that has ever been produced in Father Ted. I'm a wrong in saying that. No. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, My Hero. Who could forget Thermo Man? What a dude. But no, I say he's one of the most iconic characters in Father Ted, isn't he? Really. So the poor guy must just have Dougal following around all day. You know what I mean? People ask him, you let Dougal do a funeral, and this kind of stuff. Whereas in this, I think the cat makeup actually allows him to be someone different. I didn't look at that and think, it's Dougal in space. You know? And as such, I think he does a really good job in this as being a guest actor brought in, a known name, a known face, which is covered up, obviously, mostly. But as a result of that, I think he does a cracking job. And I think he's probably one of the better sort of stunt casts in this era of Doctor Who, if not the entire modern run.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah, I mean, he is good in it. The one thing I find really weird about that character is that he's married to a human woman and they've had cat children, but they're the actual cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we've previously discussed.
She's got very recessive genes.
So, does that not count as having more than 2 people in the car?
Well, that's
or
what
do
I
those
thought.
cats not count? Are they not people?
No, they say that to him. So this is the other thing that's good about Brannigan as a character. The Doctor says to him, "You need to take me down there. You've got 3 people aside from the fact that there's the cats. There's him in there as well. That's 3 people." And what we talked about earlier with the Macra and stuff, the people thinking that they've got to where they're going to, but they've still all been on the road and talked to each other long enough that there's rumors about bad stuff going on down there. And Brannigan's first thing is he's quite conservative as a character, not just in the way that the first gay married couple in Doctor Who are the Cassini sisters. And it's like, we're not sisters, we keep telling you we're married. He's like, don't say that. I'm not going to keep doing impressions of that. But he says, don't say that. I'm an old-fashioned cat. And like, that's something that's in there. It's like, that's not something that's, Malcolm Hulke would have beat Brannigan to death with a hammer. I can tell you that much in terms of, having a right-wing character being obstructive. But what he finds in that moment is,
True.
What it finds in that moment is that, he's a guy who's not endangering his family by going down there. And that is just a fact that's true wherever you are on the political spectrum. Like as I mentioned earlier, there's a baby crying in the background. I'm a new dad. I've got a family. It's things you can't. I'm not saying I can go and take down the government and all the rest of it. A big part of the helplessness that I think is, as in this episode, is aged like fine wine. Everything's going on above and below, and it's all terrible everywhere. And there's not really anything you can do about it from your little box. Goes to the fact that it's that when you've got things to lose, there's not really that much you can do. And I think that this is there was a whole thing of we'll get into the themes of religion and faith, but just the thing I want to flag up now is this thing in the writer's tale where Davies says that David Tennant didn't like the people in the cars in these episodes, thinks they're passive and that makes them weak, which is great. That's method practically for how your character is in this. But it's like the fact that it's not just that they're redressing all the cars and there's different people in all of the different cars, but that there's room for difference of ideology as well. Is that no one's like, right, I'm going to help you out because you're the Doctor and you're a genius, so I'm going to help you frogger down to this car at the bottom and put everyone at risk. It's like he's the guy who's having to be active in that because he's frustrated that everybody else isn't out of their cars and bringing this world down. And I think it's intentional. It's not a thing of they've accidentally made the Doctor wrong about everything. It's really, after 30 episodes of him being very active, I think it's instructive to character.
Is it not a very kind of almost British thing as well? Everyone's effectively joined a queue, and that's it. Regardless of how long it will take. And this
Brannigan's Irish, Cam. Educate yourself.
Sorry, Jesus. Oh yeah, of course. A very people have joined a queue. And it's all very much like this guy suddenly, descending from the ceiling and then disappearing down the floor is against the usual run of things. And that's why everyone's a bit like, I beg your pardon, sorry, excuse me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I got from that. It's not like a kind of thing of they're going to, rise up and, suddenly take arms against their oppressors from their car. Just some experience, by the way, Mark. Just a small word of advice: the overthrowing the government bit has to start when they're in nursery.
Oh, right, cool.
So just
Right,
to
I'll
keep
go
that in
sort
mind
that
for like three years time or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we passed the book.
Yeah. I'll just from experience, that's when you have to wait for the overthrowing the government bit.
Yeah.
I'd
Gives you
say
just more
that
time during the
also,
day.
in the story, the people that would have stood up and fought and either forced their way down to the fast lane or gone up to fight against society and burn down the leaders, they've already done that in the intervening years. The people that are left are the ones that have got more important things to protect or look after, or they've not got the energy anymore to do that. It's not that they're apathetic, it's that they're
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
They're doing what they need to do just to survive.
Yeah.
And to go back to the earlier point, apparently what they need to do to survive is to fuck cats.
We've all been there.
I mean, your words, not mine.
One of
Can
my
we
notes
just can the clerk just read back the last and just check that the prosecution said we need to fuck cats?
Yeah, but it's like, do you know what,
only
Dave? See
when
if
we're
the,
too tired to overthrow the government.
Dave, I know you live, but Dave lives up at the top of the very, very top of Edinburgh, like a big, massive hill, right? And come the zombie apocalypse, that's where you go to hide. But I will not be following you in that last order. If all of humanity depends on me buggering my animals, I'm not coming with you.
There's a particular Black Mirror episode in there somewhere, isn't there?
Well, it's the first one where he fucks the pig.
Yeah, well, that's it's an extension
Yeah.
of that, really, isn't it?
Welcome back to Bob. What a place to come back in.
Fuck's a pig. Yeah. This is my area of expertise.
I've got a thing in my
Let me
notes.
tell you about the time.
If Ardal O'Hanlon was cast as himself, and it
Yeah.
was like him in space, not in the face mask, and his partner was a cat woman, and it was baby cats, would it still have been considered as cute?
So
Yeah.
if it wasn't, if it was something completely different than what it is, would it be
Yeah.
worse? Yes.
If gender roles were swapped with
It would be
appearance,
reversed.
if it was a human man
I
fucking a
don't
cat
find it
lady,
cute. I find it really quite disturbing.
it's strange.
And
Yeah, it's
well, as I previously discussed with Cameron and Lee off screen, cats have hook penises. They have a bone in their penis with a hook on the end. It all
Yeah.
sounds very uncomfortable. And she's happy. She's that Jennifer Hennessy, the actress. Her character's like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Look how many of these kids I've squeezed out as a result of my cat husband with his bony penis.
We'll just get that
You're
in
right.
this fact now. All of this says that Jennifer Hennessy loves a hooked penis. There we go.
She does. It's
If we take nothing else away from this program tonight,
you can go back to that episode
indisputable
of Top of the
fact.
Pops where she's singing Grandma, and but there she is going hook penis.
Your Honour, is the court content to solicit this hearsay about feline dong, or are we here to talk about the episode of Doctor
Why not both? Why not both?
Who? You're allowing it,
Hearsay
okay.
about feline dong. There's the
I'll let that
episode
go.
title.
oh no.
I'm
I
adding
look
it to
forward
the
to your
list.
mother reading that one, Cab.
Probably, yeah. That'll be amazing, won't it? I'll get a text message about that one in a couple of mornings' time going, what's this all about on Facebook? Are you telling jokes that are nearly knuckle again? Maybe. I can hear it
As
now.
long as you don't hook the finger.
I can
We've
hear
not
it
got to
now.
exploratory gymnastic cunnilingus yet.
Yeah, that's still to come.
That's
That's
coming. Hey!
That's what to look for. Hey, that's what to look forward in the second half of the Post Box Live. Right, that seems like an opportune moment to do a halftime break before we descend even
Probably.
lower. Because it's better to save that to the end.
Yeah.
What we do, Gareth Bowley's been back in touch. He says, Dougal in Space, commission this now.
No,
Followed up with, you let Dougal close the airlock.
but Grim Linehan doesn't write anything anymore. He just rages against trans people.
Yes. Which I would wager if your family have moved out due to your consistent balmy rantings about a subject matter, it's maybe time to reevaluate what you're spending your life for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But there you go.
Just a
Just my
touch.
opinion.
Graham, you might be the problem.
Yeah,
Yep.
pretty much.
On that bleak note, if you've not already done so, voting is open, so you can go and cast your vote on the poll tonight. Based on the arguments put forward by the guys here, you can go to tinyurl.com/pblive50 or scan the on-screen QR code. That'll take you straight to the poll, cast your votes, and we'll reveal the results at the end of tonight's show. We'll take a short break. When we come back, I'll make sure that everybody knows which direction to point in, and we will continue with the trial of Gridlock on the Postbox Live. We'll see you very, very shortly.
Oh, go 3D.
And we're back for the second half of the trial of Gridlock on the Postbox Live tonight. Welcome back, everybody. I had a little look at the vote in the halftime break. It is one-sided, to say the least. Very one-sided. But every single vote counts. So if you're not already done so, tinyurl.com/pblive50 or scan the on-screen QR code that nobody can ever find. That'll take you straight to the poll. You can cast your vote. Actually, now I've just refreshed the poll. It is now much closer. It's a lot closer now. So,
okay.
It's a lot
Okay.
Yeah.
Well done,
maybe-
Cam. Your fans are pulling it back for you. You might manage to salvage this one.
Yeah.
Maybe. All those sock puppets. Apparently so. I have no idea why.
All it
Well,
took
so do
was a
I.
barbed cat penis, and it's just reduced
Yep,
the vote back down.
they're right in there. Right
Not
in
even
there.
your wife and kid are going, no, we're not, no.
No, it's not it's not about dicks again. No. Just as a side note, does PB50 mean this is the 50th YouTube show we've done?
This, no, it's actually the 51st. Because we've done a Christmas special that wasn't a Christmas special, wasn't counted in the whole numbering system.
Right, okay.
I think.
Okay.
Maybe it is. I'll
I was
get
going
back
to
to
say,
you. There you are.
if I'd have known
The
that,
rules.
I'd have got the bunting out.
The rules of Russell C. Davies Doctor Who is if you can say it's a landmark episode, you can fudge the numbers however you like. You can cook the books. It's a landmark episode. Welcome to the 50th live Police Wax episode. Marvellous.
I've actually got Tom Baker to come in and be the curator at the very end.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
So
Did
that's
you
what
know?
we'll call it.
Did you know that cats have... I couldn't get through it. I'll try later on.
Who knows, eh?
Oh.
Okay, bugger my animals to save the world. You know, I really think you might. Anyway, shall we continue with the trial?
Super funny.
Yes.
Okay, let's get the trial back underway then. Bob, let's have another point for the prosecution of Gridlock from you, please.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about lesbians.
Finally.
Of course.
50 episodes, we're finally here.
The two lesbians, lovely that they waving the flag for being lesbians. I like that. That's brilliant. What I just don't buy is that they're able to carry on in that life in that car because there's a single bed. How are they doing anything? It doesn't make any sense to me. And all their entire life is just car spotting and being lesbians, and the whole traffic is moving at a ridiculously slow pace over 24 years. They've been there the whole time, and they've only got a very short distance. And then, but when the doctor needs information from them, they go, "Oh yes, there's been 56 cars in the last half hour," and then the rest of the time nothing moves. But just for that one moment, when the plot demands it, there's suddenly a whole shitload of cars, and they've seen them, and that's it. Just it doesn't really make sense to me.
Has anyone
also
seen a
the-
car that came on lately? Yeah, that one there. It's the only one
Yeah.
that did.
Exactly.
What part of this is improbable? Is it the lesbians in the small car, or is it the fact that there's 50-odd cars got up this motorway in the last hour?
Well, mostly it's the 50-odd cars in the motorway in the last hour because the rest of the time nothing has moved. So the plot just the logic of the plot does not work there.
Okay.
The other thing is the bed is just way too small. I've covered that. I have problems with the sets because everything is redressed and
The sets or the sex?
Sets.
Maybe both.
Sets.
All of us strikes this as a man who's done a lot of research into this in the last 2 weeks.
Let's talk about
There's
sex.
so many lesbian videos, and all of them had bigger beds than that.
Yeah, huge they were.
It's got a very low ceiling. They're going to bang their heads.
Do they not say it's 50 cars went down to the fast lane in the last however long it was?
Yeah.
Because they're looking for cars going down to the fast lane, don't they? So it's cars that are getting out. Nothing else has moved because everyone else isn't in the fast lane.
But the rest of the cars are only going to the fast lane very, very rarely, if I remember rightly from the rest of the episode. It's a rare thing to get down to the fast lane. And you have to sort of wait your turn to be able to get on there. And only if you've got 3 people on board. But somehow, when the doctor needs the information, there's been loads of them, but then they can filter it down to just 1. And they have all the, it's from they know all the different cars. They've seen them all from their one car with foggy outside where you can't see anything because of all the gas. But they've noted them all down. I know that's nitpicky, but the logic, the internal logic of a story has to work. And when you have things like that, it stops working.
We've been spending the whole time to find out that nothing moves, nobody goes anywhere. It's all gridlock, if you want to call it that. But magically, these women have got a track of the 50 new cars that have appeared in the last hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Where have they appeared from? Yeah.
Is there not a possibility that they do them in blocks? If we're going to start introducing
like stirrups. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The cars. Yeah. Okay.
Well, the cars.
The cars. Okay.
What do you mean they do them in blocks, Cam? Explain yourself.
As in, there's like they wait until they've got a certain amount of applications for the fast lane and then go, yeah, all of them. Rather do them one at a time. It's a waste of resources, isn't it? Really, if you're just doing it one at a time, you'd rather just get, it's 50 there. Yep, zip, push the button.
But
off
that makes it sound like somebody's running it, and we know that nobody's running any of this. It's all automatic.
Yeah, it's not automatic.
So,
it's very automatic. AI is a one thing sometimes.
Yeah. So I didn't remember the bit that you were talking about, so I've gone back and checked the scripts. They say like how many people have joined the motorway in the last half hour from Pharmacy Town. It's 53 cars from Pharmacy Town have joined the motorway, not moved past them or moved to the fast lane. So it's the giant exodus going on, isn't it?
How are they seeing all 50 odd cars joining at that one point?
Because they haven't moved.
Where have the cars gone to then?
Cars to squeeze in. If none of the cars are moved, now suddenly
right, but it's Frogger, isn't it? Yeah, but it's Frogger, isn't it? There's giant stacks and rows on either side.
But they can't be looking up and there and going up and down there.
I mean, they've seen them because they've just joined from Pharmacy Town, and as you said, they've not moved.
Yeah, but if they're joining up above and below, are they hanging out the window going, there's one, there's two?
I mean, yeah, you've just talked about the size of the bed. What else is there to do, Bob?
Nothing says the Police Box does a 45-minute episode of Doctor Who more than is getting bogged down in the admin of counting cars. We're getting so hung up on how did they do it?
Much like the Cassini sisters, none of us are having sex and we're all counting cars.
Oh God, it's a sad indictment of our lives.
I mean, it's gonna, and I'm gonna drop a shocking piece of news here on Polish Box Live. I'm not a lesbian, so I know.
Well, I used to live with your wife.
Yes, you did. So therefore, yeah, aye. So I regarding the should we say the machinations of such a thing, I really don't know whether I would imagine once you've reached that age and you've been in a car for 20 odd years, you'd have to get creative. And maybe one of them leans out the window.
Because there's only one there.
And, you know, to give him a bit of extra room. And in doing so, she has to lie back and think of Nunu Worth and count
This is the
cars.
exploratory gymnastic cunnilingus of which we were speaking.
Yeah, probably.
That's the only way it makes any sense.
Yeah, that one. So that's what I'm just saying. You know, maybe it's you know, I'm not aware of the ramifications of such a thing, but I would imagine
I'm dashboard. I thought I'm coming in.
It's like they're in the room.
On the low ceilings,
yeah.
Gareth always been in touch to say good position to change the light bulbs with low ceilings.
Yes.
That's the benefit of a small car there.
Exactly. That's it. That's the one. He knows. He knows. So yes.
Okay.
Aye. That's all I'm going to say on that matter. I feel digging a hole.
Yeah, you've dropped the bombshell about you not being a lesbian, and then you've just.
I
run
know.
out for
I know. It
That's
might be a thought that people have maybe had, but I can assure you,
Well, yeah.
the
It's
allegations
crossed all
are
our
quite
minds at one
untrue.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's never a thought that I've had, and it's not the thought that I want to have. I'm
No,
not
good.
having that thought.
You're
You
having it
can't
now.
make me. No. Lesbian
David,
cam
obviously,
with James
right,
Corden
Chris.
on a leash. No.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we move on to the next point then? Actually, before we do, some comments have come in. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Joe Ford's been in touch to say, Gridlock gives big head. A winner.
Hey.
There you go. Neil's
That
still
is
at the master.
that is possibly the most Joe Ford comment you could ever have imagined.
Ever
we'd ever get. And here he is. Thanks, Joe.
Daniel Ronsley has been in touch concerning the halftime music playing all the hits tonight. It seems New York state of mind indeed. The devil in me being in a little montage there.
Yeah, I came back to an apple of love falling off an apple cart in that in that Marigold music interlude.
And asking questions about the whole setup of the world of New Earth. Gareth Bowley asks, what did he do about hospital operations? Daniel Ronsley replies, they can ask the cat nuns in that big fancy hospital to perform surgery. Oh, wait.
Yep.
Gareth does make the very good point that if a cat operating would just knock utensils to the floor and stare at you.
Like it was your fault.
Yep.
And then you go, I'm not picking it up.
What utensil? I haven't seen it.
What are you looking at me for?
There you go. An insight into the world of New Earth there. Right, let's go to the next point.
One
Which
thing
would
though about the
be-
world of New Earth, right?
Uh-huh.
They built the motorway system. They've enclosed
Yeah.
it so that it closed in an emergency, which obviously must have taken a lot of manpower and machines and people designing it all. Somehow nobody noticed a shitload of crabs leaking. Because the macra didn't, it had to have been there after it was sealed up, which means they must have been there before it was sealed up to get in there in the first place, and nobody saw all the macra.
They maybe started very small.
Massive macra.
Tiny
I mean,
crabs.
if it's anything
And
like
then-
Earth Road Works, there'll be two workies. One will be having a fag and the other will be reading the paper. And they'll just think it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
how it
you're
works.
The thing
That's
is,
it's the only explanation.
as you know,
Bob.
as we know from Doctor Who history, that people will have seen the macro and will have been told there's no such thing as macro. So yeah, of course the macro were there. Just no one clocked it was a problem because they kept being told there's no macro.
We've got crabs. No, you haven't. Shut up.
Before we go to the next point, Gareth Bowley's been back in touch to say that laser surgery would be a nightmare as the cat would jump all over your body.
Yeah.
If it pleases the courts, I'm just happy to listen to more of Gareth's cat surgery jokes all night.
Get him in, Gareth. We'll keep this going. We'll make 3 hours yet. Right, let's have the next point. That'll be you, Mark. Let's have your next point for the defensive gridlock, please.
Hello.
Hello.
So for me, for keeping it to the episode on trial, in particular, to me, what I like about this one is Russell T Davies and optimism, because and let's say sci-fi optimism on top of that, because the two big criticisms of Davies is that he can be very cynical about human nature. It's like, well, yeah, because he knows that people can be fucking awful and turns that to good drama. But people can be, you know, in the case of this, can be very good as well. On the sci-fi side of things, I've mentioned already, I think that it's good as a trilogy topper, that it takes that base, that sort of thing built, shut up you, that thing built up over 3 episodes and focuses on the individuals in it. And as I say, every car being different on the inside and having different people in it and different, you know, even with what we see on different ends of the political spectrum, whether it's Brannigan being fairly conservative to nudists drive on the motorway. Why not? There's, you know, there's still a broad spectrum of individuals in it, but what this comes down to in the end, this episode, community is what saves them. It's about individuals, and they're all sequestered in their own little cars, and occasionally some of them get fed up and we've got 3 people, let's go in the fast lane, this is taking ages. I love that joke. I forgot about it until I rewatched it for this. I love that joke where the doctor's kind of going 10 miles in 5 years, and Brannigan just goes, I think he's a bit slow. It's just a good line. But you know, you've got this thing, is what ultimately saves them is community, and you have, you know, it amounts to them all listening to, I don't get this craze. I think Jason Manford started it, of assembly bangers, you know, of everyone going for, of everyone being well into hymns and things they were forced to sing in school, and they're going to gigs for it. And I won't have it. It's no good. I'm a lapsed Catholic kid, and it's as a lapsed Catholic kid, I think this is really fascinating look at faith and community from the perspective of an atheist. You know, it takes what's actually good about religion and about organized religion and about faith and all the rest of it. That while, you know, for someone like the Doctor, it's frustrating that they're not out there, and or what he thinks needs to be done is this is a world that needs to be overthrown, and it's just not happening. You know what you get in that moment where they're all, as much as people, you know, rail against it, as it's schmaltzy, it's public domain music that they can use in a Doctor Who, whatever any of the reasons you want to, you know, you want to rail against it. It's a show that makes the most of what it's got. I think it was probably led by the fact that, you know, it's common hymns. You end up with, you know, this sort of comes back in like Wild Blue Yonder kind of being based around an assembly banger as well. That comes up later on. But sticking with Gridlock, this is a nice like counter to The Impossible Planet, like the previous season, which, you know, is still, you know, a story that has the devil in it, but it's still like with an atheist showrunner has that line where it's like, you know, in our society, there's no devil, but the evil the man does. And this is like a nice counter to that, as there's no God, but the good that people do, whether there's the existence of God or not. And that hasn't yet led to like the messianic doctorness at this point in the run. And it's also a positive counter to Utopia later in the season, where the last great hope of humanity turns to shit and they regress into sociopathic childhood and have a go at tenanting themselves, which is not good for anybody. But it's like it's the uplift. It's the uplifting ending, is what I would say about this. It's like the optimism that's there throughout. And then into the center of this, you put a Doctor who is used to problem solving, is used to get up and go up and beat the macrobe. All the while he's masking. You know, he's doing what he does in End of the World. You know, typically by the end of that, he tells Rose what's actually gone on with his planet, and you end up with a similar scene with Martha in the alley. That's one of the great scenes of the episodes. It's just all around a very good David Tennant performance, because he's got to stack all of this stuff that's counterintuitive to, you know, the Doctor coming in and fixing everything. But it's situated in a story where he's there, like he does actually do something. You know, it's the thing of they can't fix the power situation. He's there with a pair of hands, the face of Bob. As you say, it's best to shoot him above the neck, but that means he has no hands free to do any of this as well. So it's kind of, as I say, the way that faith and community comes through in this, in what is, you know, generally quite a cynical and pessimistic writer of Doctor Who, for all the people say it's too light and he's dark as balls, man. It's just it's a lighter touch. I appreciate that too. I think it's like an actually uplifting ending, maybe like the last sighting of a real, true uplifting ending in RTD1.
So, would you argue that this is, as you said earlier, heaven and hell, above and below? God either no longer exists or no longer cares or is dead. So the flock are just going on, minding their own business, singing the old hymns, until they get a new leader coming in and showing them that they should actually care about each other again.
And they're desperately hoping that their faith in the system will bring them through.
Yeah.
And it's not.
So you're saying that David Tennant is Jesus, the second coming?
I'm not. That's definitely not what I'm saying, because he's not. He literally has the line when Martha turns up, "I didn't save you, he did," about the face of Bo. I'm saying the face of Bo is Jesus. No, what I'm saying is that to an atheist, the very basic religious reading is that this is God below and this is God above and the devil below. But because Davies is an atheist, heaven above and hell below is you've got the people who are beyond any of this touching them. Whether because they have the resources, obviously they're all dead. In this case, it's not a case of, their money didn't save them, because it won't in the end. And the hell below is the ravening people who are just mindlessly eating to feed their own appetites. And in between, you've got the people just trying to fucking get by.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, it's still primarily High Rise meets Frogger. The religious subtext or, undertones to it are not meant to be taken literally to me, but as I say, unfolding text, I get why straightforwardly, if it's like a commentary on religion and faith, I get why there would be that negative side to it. But I think that it does the communities, the thing of them all joining in the hymns, the thing of them connecting with each other, even though they're all stuck in this situation, it speaks to what the point of it all is, what the point of faith and organized religion is. Without it coming off as insincere. That's the other key point to me. It's an optimistic RTD episode that doesn't feel like phoned in or insincere.
I'm going to guarantee that at one point in one draft, he wanted them all singing Britney Spears' Slave to You.
Well, we started with Toxic, and we've got to Abide With Me.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, there is a moment in this, I think it's a genuinely quite touching moment, and I think it reflects them on the characters and the fact that they all, I think it could have been any song, really. You could have just, it didn't have to be Abide With Me, but it can be, it's a communion, and it's effectively an exercise in almost blind faith. It's the same reason why, all the characters call the police, but don't, and then it's pointed out to them that they've never seen a police car in years. So, what's the point? It is that kind of like humanity will always try and find comfort in something that's maybe not going to work out for them. And then suddenly
It's
it'll be,
habitual faith.
Yeah, and in the end...
His entire career.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. But it's definitely going to be Britney Spears at one stage.
Oh, yeah. All steps.
Yeah.
I'd like to think at one point he considered a Billy Piper song.
All these people singing Honey to the Bee.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
Because we want to.
Oh, dear God.
Always bloody Rose, always comes back.
Always coming back, yeah.
You wonder,
We're singing
Martha,
the-
you imagine how Martha would have felt at that.
Yeah, I know. Going on, he's getting to broadcast the X's singing across the entire network.
It's not even her best single.
No.
Okay, any more on that one? Or are we
I don't think so.
done kicking that one around? No.
I think we're done.
Okay, before we move on, meanwhile, back at the hospital, you just know that Novice Haynes stayed in office because she had no bedside manner, kept bringing her patients dead mice and birds as offerings and expecting a stroke afterwards.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In the corner. Why did the bed sheet smell of pee again?
Coming soon to a Target novelisation near you of Gridlock, Daniel Ronsley presents.
What do you mean?
Once you finish the new F, Daniel, you can move on to this one. Right then, next point, prosecution. Dave, what you got?
Now, you see, we've got a different format. So I was thinking, how how do I get the points about the whole series in, except showing how this represents them? This season is the season where Mopey Tennant begins, and I think this episode is kind of the start of it.
Mhm.
Because before this, we know he's been pretending that he's fine. He's been going through the motions with Martha, going, "Oh yeah, I used to travel with somebody. She's not important. She doesn't matter." And it's in this episode where he realized that he really misses Rose, and he's been a shite bag to Martha. And it's where the mopey crying, "Aren't I sad? It's all about me, Doctor," appears. Because if you take out the 3-part finale of this, it's a 10-episode series. So in this one, where he goes, "Oh, I barely know her, and I've been treating her like a bag of shite this whole time," it's literally a quarter of the way through this series. So we spent the first quarter of this series with David Tennant pretending he's still the same Doctor. And this is where he starts to get mopey and sad and, "Oh, I wasn't nice to anyone and woe is me." And it's the point where it stops being about telling a story and being about how sad the Doctor is, why the Doctor should be better, and how much he misses Rose, and how everything was better previously. And if I wanted to hear that shite, I'd go on a Doctor Who forum, because I know it was all better before, but I want to get told an interesting story. I don't just want, because that's all we get for a while after this. Like somebody mentioned the Dobby Tennant that we get at the end. That is what he has been building to this whole fucking season. It's just him in a corner with his tight wee suit on, looking sad with his big shiny eyes, and we're all meant to feel sorry for him. That's not what it's meant to be. He's meant to be the Doctor instead of this fucking incel that he turns into. And I know that he's not all about that in this episode, but for me, this episode where he starts becoming the whole, "Why doesn't she love me? Why isn't she with me? I miss her so much. She's turned the universe against me," shite. So that's the point for the prosecution. This is the microcosm of Tennant becoming the mean Tennant.
Okay. So after this one, Incel 10th Doctor goes on to get off with Kylie Minogue, Michelle Ryan, Billy Piper again, Queen Elizabeth I. Incel, that's a new take. That's a hot new take on 10th Doctor, I would say.
Out of touch with reality, Incel.
Fair enough. I would agree with you on the point. I would agree with you on the point that he's a backward-looking thing. I don't think that it starts with this. I think that one of the nice things that's bedded in with Tennant to differentiate, the 10th Doctor from the 9th Doctor is that he's masking a lot. It's stuff that like Moffat in later episodes comments on explicitly. Like, this is the face you put up on yourself when you're trying to appeal to like a young companion that you're with. I think the masking thing is there all the way through series 2 as well. He's got a temper to him. He's got an edge to him. He experiences tragedy at the end of series 2, and I think it's shit for like for Reimagined and for Martha to all the way through that series be the rebound thing. I think they definitely keep that going longer than they should. And this, I agree with you, this should have been the end of that. He realizes he's treating her like shite, and then move on from there instead of sort of bouncing around a little bit more for a few more episodes. And then by Lazarus Experiment going, "Oh yeah, go on then, you can come with me. What I'll do is I'll get stranded twice in very racist time periods, and then I'll allow my best mate to take over the world, and you can jog on, love." Yeah, that's all stuff that's happening. But I think that all happens after Gridlock, which is on trial here. Which is why I called you a coward, Dave. There are later episodes you could pick on for exactly this point.
Though.
No. We don't treat symptoms. We treat crimes. We treat crimes with Dr. Hospital, apparently. I need to take some more Nightcat Nurse over here, but yeah. So my point of that, like, I agree with you on a lot of like the arc stuff, but I think that this is like a nice standalone thing in it because Martha's really good in this. Like, she's off on her own, does companion stuff, is curious, is asking questions, wants to know about the world, wants like sticks up for herself and stuff in her thing that she's hived off while he's off fucking it up elsewhere. And she, does stand up to him at the end and give that thing. It's a weird thing. It's similar to the Macro thing. They're building the New Who lore, but the Old Testament stuff is like this reaching back to, it's maybe only the second time they mention Gallifrey, like by name, in the new series. Like, so it's the Survivor's Guild stuff like that, the stuff that was front and center for the Ninth Doctor, but you feel like he's dealing with it, and then is masked in the 10th Doctor and works all the way through his arc where he gets this massive superiority complex by the end of it. I don't know. I think it's worked through. I don't think it's unintentional that the character goes through misery.
Is there not, though, like, as this episode goes on, the whole crux of the matter is that he does realise that he was treating Martha as shite, and that's the reason why he's trying to get her back from these kidnappers. There's a whole guilt trip thing there. And it's also, I mean, I, watching this back, kind of forgot that this was like pre the Return of the Master. And we hadn't really had much of a mention of him until the finale of this season. Obviously, it'll be hinted at with the whole Harold Saxon thing, won't it, going up into this. But it means that we kind of get a nice drip feed of a Doctor's past. And it's the whole thing with... The episode ends with Tennant and Martha, the Doctor and Martha sat in an alleyway, and he's recanting these wonderful stories about Gallifrey in quite sort of a misty-eyed kind of way. And I don't think we really had that with Eccleston at all. And I think it would be a completely different scene with Eccleston's Doctor if he was still around doing, telling these stories. I don't think he would regard Gallifrey with the same kind of reverence as the 10th Doctor does in this episode. Because he's still quite, bitter about the Time War and, being the last one. Whereas in this, it's kind of like, it's turning that corner and having the 10th Doctor suddenly go, well, here's my home planet, and it's wonderful and it's great. And whereas at the start of the episode, he's like, oh, we don't want to go there, it was rubbish, blah, 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 blah. But, where's the fun in it for me just to go home? Whereas at the end of the episode, he's actually willing to tell stories about Gallifrey and be, at peace with the idea of that's where he's from. And that's, I think, a big thing for this season going forward, is the fact that the Doctor acknowledges that, for the next few episodes, he's going to think he's the last one, and he will get, nostalgic about the thing that he thinks he's lost. As we're going on, he won't be the last one, obviously, and Gallifrey is not destroyed, lost, somewhere, hidden, whatever. But that's what we'll end up with. But for now, it's quite a nice ending of pathos at the end of the episode for him to be at peace with the idea that, Gallifrey is this thing that he quite actually liked.
Yeah, and you'd assume from the ending that he's opened up to her, so now they're on more equal footing and he's not going to treat her like shit anymore for the rest of the series.
Wrong.
So why not pick a later one? That's what I'm asking.
Well, that was the best Martha was written in a lot of ways during that series, because she actually had agency and she was holding the Doctor to account, and then it just became her getting treated like shit again for the rest of the series, which is disappointing.
I think it's kind of difficult in the fact that, from a point of view, Freema Agyeman has to follow Billy Piper. And I think that's a very difficult thing to do. And I think maybe it was... I mean, you'd probably have more success in Tennant's first run if you could have somehow swapped around Catherine Tate with Freema Agyeman and have Catherine Tate do season 3 and Freema Agyeman do season 4. Because then you would have got a little bit of a break from companion Fancy's Doctor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because obviously, Donna Noble didn't at all have any interest in any of that with him.
No,
it would have been a harder fact. It would have been a harder act to follow, I think, because Tennant and Tate are so well matched. It is it's unfortunate that in the space of that series, she's sort of that the rebound thing goes on. It's an angle. It's something you can do. It's just unfortunate it goes on as long as it does. But that they say by the end of the series, she leaves with her head held high, and it's like, I'll see you again and stuff. And it's almost like they acknowledge, all right, we need to do more stuff for her. She's great. And then go, we'll write something. I don't know. She can be in Torchwood for a bit. She'd love to be in Torchwood. Wouldn't everybody love to be in Torchwood? Yeah,
One of
it's
the
just odd.
Yeah, one of
It's
the
an odd
problems
thing, isn't it?
with Harper as a character is that she does this getting treated like shit stuff for loads of episodes, and then in the last three episodes of that series, she has to go around the world telling everyone how great the Doctor is, when actually she's been going, yeah, he's brilliant, although he does treat me like shit, to be honest.
She's selfless in that way. Yeah, but she's selfless in that way. I think it does manage to hold it up as that rather than she's, like someone in love. It's putting someone else before you, isn't it?
I think that's it. I think she's
She's just overachieved by putting everyone alive before her.
Yes, optimism, yeah. I think it would have been a different finale had she just walked around the entire planet going, he's a cunt.
But you'd love to see it, wouldn't you? He's just like this needy incel. My planet died, sort of. One time he shouted at me that he was the law. I don't know what that means, what he was trying to do.
But as far as if there's a competition in the league table for Doctor treated companion like shit, I mean, number 6 is Perry. It's just like, come on.
Okay, John first.
He's far, far from the worst. Far from the worst.
Yeah. It's sustained in that way, though, I'll grant you.
Daniel Rosley does back up what Bob was saying. He says that Martha does have a lot more agency in the back half of Series 3, though. She saves the Doctor's bacon a lot more than he saves hers.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. And in really racist periods of history, like back to back, like the 1910s, where he makes, she has to work as a maid, and then they get stuck in the 60s, and she's like going, "Oh, I had to go out and get a job, support him." It's like, hang on, what the fuck are you doing?
Standing in alleyways crying, obviously.
Yeah, you're right. What a cunt.
It's not tears, it's rain. Gareth Foley's been in touch to say, and I'm on board with this, Gareth. Martha is the greatest companion in New Who. Of course. Daniel Ronza says, the judge might hear you. I've heard him, Daniel. I've heard him, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Oh, God. The long winter nights must fly by for Lee.
Aren't you lot glad we're not doing the full series? Because this would be just every week now.
Yeah.
Just you're going to go,
Just be fawning over FEMA, yeah. But only 2 more episodes of this to go, really.
What did she do after Doctor Who?
She did Law and Order UK.
Yep.
Where they actually reused a lot of episodes of Law and Order US and just changed it to London.
And Peter Davison in that one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think more than anyone since, except for Karen Gillan, I think she actually went and worked in the US quite a lot. So she's in like Sense8, she's in New Amsterdam, she's in there was like a Sex and the City prequel series. I think she was in that as well. Yeah, she's been still acting about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's done a lot more stuff over there than here, which is a shame, I think, because she is a great actress.
Anyway, sideline.
Before we move on to the next point, the script writing team of Gareth Bowie and Daniel Ronsley have been working eagerly on the end of Gridlock. They've come up with an alternate ending. The Doctor sits Martha down and tells her about Arc of Infinity. Honestly, Martha, a giant chicken.
It wasn't a giant chicken, it was a giant chicken skeleton.
Yeah,
there's a difference.
There's a difference. Mostly wings.
And Daniel Ronsley says, but be carefully leaving out Omega. That's a story for another time, Martha.
By this point, she's just like left. He's still talking about Arc of Infinity however many hours left.
Well, yep.
And he was
like any right-minded woman.
Character tried to shoot someone.
And that's why she ends up in New Amsterdam.
That's right.
Hey. New Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Gareth also says that Prima's in RSC and was doing 12th Night last year, and she was still doing Shakespeare stuff in London, which I might book a ticket for now. If the restraining order will allow. I'll take a ticket.
I'm pretty sure you'll be more than 100 meters away from the stage, won't you? Really?
Anyway, yeah. Pricing wise, I will be. Yeah.
You might be outside in the foyer, but you know.
Right then, let's go to the last point of the trial. That is Cam. Let's have your final point for the defensive gridlock,
Oh, I
please.
think I've rapidly ran out of stuff on it.
Okay.
We briefly kind of touched on it. I'll mention the one thing. What I personally like about Gridlock is it does a lot of world building and a lot of expansive storytelling with very little set design. I think we have kind of gone through that already. Yeah, it is the same small box, decorated depending on who's in the car at the time, and it's literally just David Tennant just going up and down, from the ceiling to the floor, and a little bit of the CGI in between, and then one set that's like an alley, and that's pretty much about it. So from that point of view, from a budget kind of idea, yeah, it is a cheaper episode to make, but I think it's still got a lot of ambition despite that, and that's the thing that surprised me watching it back again, is the fact that it's got a lot to it for not much starting material kind of thing, so it does well for that. It's not even like the traditional like Dr. Light episode of this season, because that'll be Blink. But yeah, it's still good from that point of view. It does a lot of good with the resources it has. Essentially, is what I'm prattling on about.
There is a lot of good word building in it, and it does pull in a lot of different sources, like High Rise, and there was characters from Judge Dredd, like Max Normal. He's the businessman guy, the basis of that fella, and that painting with the farmers were the first ones to die. But still, the essential problem I have with Gridlock is that the Doctor, yeah, he does get everything wrong, and that's kind of unsatisfying for watching that character, because he's supposed to be brilliant at all these different things, and he doesn't do anything. He just doesn't do anything other than sort of turn up and flick a lever at the end.
I mean, he does stuff, like we said, but he grows and learns from it, is the point. That, the scene we were just talking about with Martha in the alley comes out with the fact that he's went and talked to the Facebook boy, who, by the way, totally unhelpful, doesn't tell him, the master's back. He tells him an acronym.
Yeah.
But Sutek is not on trial here. I'm just saying, we used to love it when it was like this. It's a thing that's in there. It's come out of that. It's a humbling experience for him. It's that he's the active mover in that, and I don't think that's unsatisfying. It's something that there are 29 episodes leading up to this point where he is the action hero, especially once he turns into Tennant and he's running around in a big court, and plenty of episodes afterwards as well. I think what this is rooted in is character and community, is that it's about that he's the most individual character in this. He's the guy who at the end is admitting he has nothing, the counter to Brannigan, who has a family and has something, to obviously, he's trying to get back to Martha, but he is essentially, and declares himself at the end, last of the Time Lords, he's on his own. And I think it's a good thing to have in the midst of this mad 2000 AD inspired spectacle, that, to go to Cameron's point, as throwing CGI and stuff, beyond its. This is what I want from Doctor Who. I'd much rather it takes a whiff trying to do like a giant CG spectacle. And I think for 2007, it looks pretty good. 2007 BBC One Saturday nights, it looks pretty good. We are looking at it with modern eyes, but it's the ambition of drama as well as spectacle.
I mean, you say looking at it with modern eyes. When I looked at the Dobby Doctor in that series, I thought that was shit then. And
Dobby Doctor is not on trial.
Yeah, but
well, the whole series technically is, so we can stick the boot in the Dobby Doctor if they really want to.
It's almost like
It's a
someone should have
new
picked
format.
the episode with the Dobby Doctor in it.
Okay, anything more on that final point then? Or
I don't think so.
We would appear
The
to be
dog's
done.
got
Okay.
That's my dog again. Sorry.
Evie would like to add something.
Evie has opinions, obviously.
Right then, let's go to sum things up before we wrap up the trial. Bob, do you want to give us your summing up as to why Gridlock is guilty of crimes against Doctor Who, please?
I think, what I've said previously, the Doctor kind of just drifts through. He doesn't really have a lot of agency in trying to sort things out. He sort of decides to tear the system down, but for all the wrong reasons, and then doesn't actually save the day if he's supposed to save the day. The Doctor does a bit of rewiring, and that is his job. And there's all these really good elements in the story, but in the episode, but it doesn't really, for me, go anywhere. Ultimately, it's all a bit of that way. It was all right.
Okay, so guilty
And
of
if that's
crimes
the best
against
you can say about it, then that's not that's not great.
Okay, right then, Cam. Do you want to give us your summing up as to why it's not guilty of crimes against Doctor Who, please?
Built upon all the things that we've said so far, I've said for the defence tonight. I just think it's a great story that kind of occupies a lovely middle ground between not being like a full-blown all-out episode, but not being a Doctor Light one either, and still getting the best of those both worlds. So, I don't think it's often we get that. It's sometimes we get modern Doctor Who episodes that are like, massive stories that somehow, sometimes hit, sometimes fall flat on their ass, big risk ones. And then we get things like that are quite contained, quite compact. This is a nice part way between the two. I don't think there's many episodes that do that.
Okay. Not guilty of crimes against Doctor Who, according to Cam. Dave, go ahead, give us your summing up as to why it's guilty of crimes against Doctor Who, please.
So this is a story which has no story in it. The Doctor does very little. The companion gets kidnapped, runs around a bit, and then does nothing at the end. It sets up the Barham his face of Rebo later on. The subtext is that drugs are bad, all drugs, no matter what. No text, subtext, they're just all that's it, they're bad. And the season with a lot of stunt casting in it, some of which works out. We've got a great comedic actor with an incredibly expressive face who's in a solid mask that doesn't move. We don't see his Dougal. Fine. But what's the point of spending the money on a known actor when you can't see his expressive face? We've got all the weird stuff of people and cats having kids together, which is just weird because it doesn't make sense. To go overarching in this whole season, which we are allowed to do now because it's the new format, and this one we've got cats can be people. Later on we've got statues can be people. Pigs can be people, and straw can be people. So, really original anything can be people thoughts here. Martha's a doctor, and it gets mentioned in almost every single story. But it only actually has any comeuppance in one. So that's a useless thing. But the biggest thing this is guilty of is this is the start of Sad Tennant. It takes him a quarter of the way through this series for the mask to drop and him to go, oh no, I'm a bit of a shitbag. Instead of trying to be better after that, he goes, oh, I'm a bit of a shitbag the whole fucking time. And that's why this is guilty of crimes against Doctor Who.
Okay, and last but not least, Mark, let's have you summing up as to why Gridlock is not guilty of crimes against Doctor Who, please.
I'm tempted to sum up just to reply to that I do think Doctor Who is anyone can be people, but in brackets like Andrew Blair earlier on, complimentary. But no, I have prepared a statement. It's not just a statement. It's the last of my statements. I came here from a forum called Outpost Gallifrey. There was a war against legal action. And they lost. Everyone lost. Oh, you should have seen that forum when it was going. The posts were slate grey. The headings and the cuts, the heading colours were all kinds of colours from navy to blue. I remember when Gridlock came out. The forums were asking, the Ming Mongs were all up on the hills asking, would a virus really kill a whole planet in 7 days flat? And of course, the greatest thread in Outpost Gallifrey history, closed after 10,000 posts by a mod, is Russell T Davies trying to get kids to have sex with their cats. It doesn't matter. But it doesnn't matter. As Abide With Me players, and we saw up in my webcam. I haven't figured out how to do that. Oh, should we do this?
There we go.
Right, anyway. What I'm saying is, what we've got in this episode, the ages beyond that. You know, an hour, a week, a month, a year, 19 years, let's say, after you post those mad knee-jerk responses, you absolute maniacs. You've got a story that is aging like fine wine. You've got a story that, you know, I don't think you could ever claim that. I think that maybe the EPG might say the Doctor turns up somewhere, the companion gets kidnapped, there's an old villain. And it's like it'd be like if the EPG said the Doctor saves the humans. You know, it could describe a lot of New Who episodes. And what I think it is about Gridlock, there's not many episodes. There's not any other episode quite like it. I think that its optimism and that its ambition sets it apart from just about everything else going on. And I think that's something that you need. It could certainly stand to have a lot more of in other episodes of Doctor Who, and that's why it's not guilty.
Okay, there we go. 4 strong summings up. You've heard from everybody tonight. The power is now entirely in your hands, audience, if you've not already done so. Go to tinyurl.com/pblive50 or scan the on-screen QR code. Get your votes in. When this ticker disappears off the bottom of the screen, the poll will be closed and we'll reveal the results when we come back from the break. But before we do that, I feel it's only right we should stop in one last time at New Earth's version of Holby City and find out what's going on. I mean, the face of the boat is only down because Novice Haim's such a shit nurse, just licked his tank a couple of times and poured a lot to rock him to sleep.
That's a good
I
point.
Gareth
Question
Bowley,
answered.
I talk of good points. Gareth Bowley says, "Of course, the cats would be good with a CAT scan."
Hey!
Hey!
That's it. That's all, folks.
And I'm sorry, but it was getting his tank gently licked that got Joe Bauer in trouble in the first
In
place.
trouble in the first place. Yay!
Hey!
Tick off your bingo cards at home, folks. Right. When we come back, we will reveal the results of tonight's poll and find out whether Gridlock is guilty or not guilty of crimes against Doctor Who. We'll see you in a few minutes' time. And we're back, apart from Bob, whose internet's clearly crashing him again. Is he still here? He is. He's in the background. There he is.
There's a message.
He's back.
Yeah, there you go.
There we are.
Welcome back,
All
Bob.
present correct. Right then, the poll is closed. It is time to find out whether Gridlock is guilty or not guilty of crimes against Doctor Who. Here is how you, the viewers, have voted. By the
yes.
narrowest.
The Brexit ratio.
Comes back to haunt us
Stunning
once again.
victory. I will go off on the results again.
By the narrowest of margins, you've decided, you, the audience, that you hate Gridlock and the Europeans, and it is 52% to 48% guilty of crimes against Doctor Who. Bob and Dave take the episode, and Dave is 1-0 up on the series. Congratulations, you two.
Yep.
Congratulations, Dave. Well done.
Yep. Leading the season from start to finish, no doubt about it.
He says
Triumph for
unconvincingly.
British justice.
Yes.
Cam, Mark, you put up a valiant fight. It was really, really close for the second half there. Only just
Okay.
missing out in the end.
Okay. At what point, when you said it was really one-sided, which side was that on?
Yeah.
That was very, very much not guilty of crimes against Doctor Who. It was 80-20 at
Wow.
one point.
Oh,
So the
right.
prosecution rallied and they've brought it
Stop
right
the
back.
counts now.
Was it just the fact that I said I wasn't a lesbian? Is that what...
I think it might be that, yeah. I think that's what sunk the whole thing.
Oh, I should have just let people keep that pretense. Shouldn't I really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to
I
shut
said
down
up
the
top.
OnlyFans account and everything now.
It's actually it's Claire who's voted against you. Because you're
Probably,
not-
yeah, exactly. It's probably just, yeah, that's it. Damn it. Never mind.
So there we go. Dave is 1-0 up on this series, going into the next episode. Talking of which, Cam, it's your choice. What are we doing
It is.
on the next episode of the Post Box Live, Cam?
Okay, so if I had to pick the best example for this series, I didn't really think there was many other places I could go other than for a double parter, Family of Blood, Human Nature. That's where we're going next.
That is going to be our next episode on the Post Box Live. Trial 2 of 3. That's going to be in a fortnight's time. More details than that a little bit later on. Bob, Mark, thanks very much for joining us tonight. It's been great to have you both back on again. Where can people find you, Bob?
Well, depending on how the election results go and I get to Nigel Farage, possibly Barlini.
Quite probable, yeah, quite probable.
I mean, it'd be a
Fair
first
enough.
for this. We could have somebody on the inside. I mean, using your
Yes.
limited internet time. Go on and defend Fearer. That's it.
Bob Lowe's is allowed to contribute to live YouTube program from his jail cell. The country has gone to the dogs.
And how about you, Mark? Where can folks find you?
I'm wittering on over Film Stories, the website and the magazine, and otherwise just on Blue Sky, markharrison.bsky.social.
Magic, that's where you find both of them. Right, as Cam has said, next time is going to be Human Nature and the Family of Blood 2-part are going before the courts. A chance to level the series for the defence or to sew it up for the prosecution. Aiding us, aiding Cam and Dave in the next episode, it's going to be Michael Mills and Andy Kent. They're going to be coming on to administer some justice in the courtroom, and we'll see which way the 3-part series goes. That is in a fortnight's time on Thursday, well, less than a fortnight's time actually, because we're doing this on Friday. Thursday, the 14th of May, at 8 p.m. here on YouTube. That is where you will find us for that. That's it for tonight. Thanks very much to Bob and Mark for joining us. Thanks as always to Cam and Dave. And to you, the viewers, for watching, sending your messages and voting in the poll. Thanks very much as always. Series 9 of the Polis Box continues in a couple of weeks' time with Human Nature and Family Blood with Michael Mills and Andy Kent on the 14th of May. We will see you then. Until then, thanks very much for watching and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, folks.
Bye bye. Anyone can be people complimentary.